Yeah, it's correct.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks for the introduction. So we organized this together with Dancefair, and Vocalkitchen is a platform where we connect vocalists and songwriters with DJs. One of the biggest problems that DJs encounter is that they can do the tracks, the instrumental part, but then if they want to take it to the next level and they go to a label, the label will ask them, so where's your original song? And then they have to, put all this time in finding the right vocal and songwriting talent. And where do you find that? Well, we're trying to provide a solution. And also I wanted to invite some really cool people that have written amazing material for DJs, like these two brilliant guys. Maybe you can introduce yourself quickly.
All right.
I'm Janieck. I'm a singer-songwriter and an artist, singer, etc. I came into this, the kind of writing for DJ scene with Lost Frequencies, with Reality. So I made like acoustic song actually, and then it landed there. And since then, actually, I've been writing for DJs. But to me, it always starts with a good song, like a campfire song, and then you can put it in any direction of production you want. But that's for me what it's all about, actually.
All right. I'm Alon, 24 years old. I'm a friend of Janieck, actually, and I perform with him live. I write a lot with him, and actually, next week, a song of Lucas and Steve is coming out, and we wrote that together. And we wrote for Deep End as well, and maybe you know his song "Does It Matter." That's
in the charts right now.
Yeah,
in the charts right now. Yeah, a remake of an old Alice DJ song.
"Better Off Alone." Maybe you know it.
Yep. Better. Thank you. So, first of all, I want to ask a couple of questions. So, how many of you are DJ/producer? Oh.
A lot.
Okay. That's many. many. And any vocalists or songwriters?
Right.
Okay, good. So, like I said, there's two parts of the industry. You have the DJ and the producer that's looking for vocals and songs. The other side, we have the songwriters like ourselves and the vocalists that need an outlet for their songs. And a lot of times you can, either release your song yourself, but then maybe you don't have enough traction or not enough following, or you can find a label that will do it for you. But then again, they all look at how big your following is and all that stuff. I think what I love about this side of the industry, about electronic dance music, is that it gives you the opportunity to work with a DJ that is already an established brand, and where you can actually, ride on their wave as a songwriter and start your career from that point. But like Janieck also said, and Alon, it all starts with the song. So we wanted to share some ideas with you about songwriting and about how we approach the songwriting process. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, because that's what we're here for. I don't want to, keep on talking about things you're not interested in. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. I think there's a microphone somewhere, so just raise your hand if you have a question. Any questions?
So far.
So far, no. Okay, great.
I have a question for you guys. Do you know what the difference is between top lining or songwriting?
Anyone?
We got somebody? Pass the mic.
I think in my experience, top lining, you work with a established track already, and songwriting you go from scratch. You set up your own harmony, structure, and everything.
Exactly.
I agree.
100% correct.
Yeah.
The difference is like for me, songwriting or top lining, it gets confused a lot of times. But exactly, it's an established track which you write on. But maybe as a singer or songwriter, the chord progression doesn't really fit. is too high or too low or whatever. And you can always change that. So if there's an established track, it's good to like to work with that as a frame, but it shouldn't. How do you call it? Like it shouldn't like lead you in a specific direction. You know, the problem is always that you're already kind of locked in a way. So if I get a production from a DJ or producer, I listen to it, but it doesn't like I don't really necessarily like pay attention to the chord progression or whatever, because then you're already like in some direction maybe you don't want to go. So you have to feel free, and that's so good about like if you start off. That's why we brought our guitars. If you start off with a guitar or just a piano, you can go whatever direction you want. I think that's a really good thing.
Who has experience with top-line writing to tracks? Okay. So, who has a hard time finding vocals as a DJ? Okay. Well, that's good. That's good for our business. Yeah. So the whole process, like I always try to, if I look at myself, I'm a melody guy. So for me, melody comes first. I think a melody should say enough, even if there's no words, because I think a melody can translate, even if you don't understand the words. The feeling should already be there. And based on the vowels that you sing, that's where you find the right words. Sometimes I would write a scratch vocal, would be like fake lyrics. And when I just started my career, I would, I'd find somebody to do lyrics because I'm not the best at doing lyrics. I can write a decent lyric, but not compared to, big writers. And then I noticed that as soon as I send it out and they send me a lyric back, and they don't stick to the vowel sounds that I have in the demo, that means something is wrong, because there's something organic about this. When you sing a note and you go to, hey, and then suddenly somebody writes a word and it has like, ee, it feels awkward. So I like to work with people that understand that from a vocalist point of view, because that makes a difference. I don't know how you approach that.
I'm exactly the same. Like if you start off with songwriting, you have like all our phones probably or other songwriters is like filled with like memos with la da 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 da, all kind of stuff. And you always have like the sounds are really important. What you say, the vowels.
Yeah.
And then I actually write the lyrics on that sound.
Exactly. And sometimes it comes at the same time, some parts. We have like maybe one phrase that you picked up somewhere while you were somewhere at an event or in a train, or you heard somebody say something that is interesting, and you would try to incorporate it in the melody. So meanwhile, I would be singing a melody, and when I think, oh, this is the chorus, I would just use that line somehow and make it work on a specific melody. But I think, every song is different. I don't try to limit myself. Like you said, you want to be as free as you can when you're writing songs. So you got to be, somehow it feels like, dare to be ugly. You just want to be, be able to think of stuff that is shit anyway, and then it'll come, some cool things will stick around. You're like, oh, that's actually really cool. Let's go with that. And we had a session 2 weeks ago. We were bouncing off ideas, and I think we wrote like 3 or 4 half song ideas. That
we started off with like a ballad, so we're like behind the piano, and we started off with like very heartfelt, emotional song, and in the end we ended up with like a funky party song.
Yeah.
And that's super weird, but that's how it goes. And like if you have an established track and you start top lining, you cannot do that. You have that direction that the producer wants to go, and sometimes there's not enough space, or it's not the production that you could like really work on. So as a producer, because like there are more DJ and producers here, it's always like important to like somehow sometimes they just send the track to songwriters, vocalists, and they write something, they get it back, and they're like, I don't like it. But then the songwriters are like, but why? Like what don't you like? And it's really important to get some knowledge of that topic, so you can work like a lot better together. So because like on a production level, like I know the basics, so I can communicate to the producer, as in like, all right, maybe we could do that different, because if we do that different, I can do this. something like that. So I think it's really important to like know both sides. And songwriting is, yeah, we can demonstrate something.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like you could send us a basic track with a 4/4 and a kick hi-hat and some piano, and then we just start singing on that. But mostly we start like this, actually.
We were just making fun of this. Actually, backstage, we were, okay. For me, the writing process is actually not really. It's not like, okay, today I'm going to write a song. I am going to write a song, but I'm not like strict about it. So most of the time, it just happens while I'm in a conversation with my co-writer about life or things, or when he's explaining me what he just did or did last night or like last week or what he's going to do next week, or could be whatever. So we were joking around. I don't know what it was, but what did we come up with?
Something
What the
with
daddy?
your daddy, I don't know.
See,
What
okay,
was it
that's
again?
where we should have recorded it.
Yeah, right.
Don't let your daddy
don't let your daddy know something.
Yeah.
Don't let you.
It could be something weird, and we were just making fun. So we weren't even writing, and that's where the magic happens.
Shouldn't
At
let
least
your
for me.
daddy know something.
So shouldn't let it. It was something. It was funny actually. What?
So you're gonna do the chord?
Just let your daddy know. Jim down and slow. Da 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 da. Something. Don't let your daddy know. And beautiful. 'Cause I got something over. I got nothing, no, yeah. Okay, so.
So if you think
So
it's cool,
normally-
you have to record it on your
normally-
phone. Normally,
Okay,
yeah.
lesson number 1. Always record shit.
And it's always like when we walk into a session, like first we start just talking about stuff, and then
What was the
when we
chord
start off, you
progression?
just put your phone down, record, and then you have like a memo of like 4 freaking hours, but you can cut that.
with
So
all
what
in
was
between
the-
conversations about
About
that
live,
you don't want to bore anybody.
What was the chord progression?
B minor,
Don't let your
A.
daddy know.
G.
Da-da-da, beautiful. I got a daddy's love. I know that I won't be, 'cause I'm trying to say that I know that I will up in a, 'cause I'm on my way.
Don't let your daddy know. And na 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 na.
You probably know this
so you
process.
probably have like some words you already hear, and then you listen back to it, and then like, all right, I like that word or the vowels, what you're saying, but for the rest it's just blah 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 with a melody.
And repeating is really important.
It's really
If
important.
you have a cool sample
really
or
important.
something, just repeat it.
Repeat it.
Yeah, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Yeah.
I talked about it yesterday that the song of Beyonce will run the world, girls, and the phrase gets like repeated like 50 times. With 6 writers on it.
Yeah, everybody did one repeat.
So I was just like laughing, like how did that go? Like one writer, oh we should repeat it 10 times, and the other was no. 14.
I think everybody did one
14.
repeat. Like repeat.
So one guy just wrote the melody, and the rest was like, how many times are we going to repeat it? So that's how you get a copyright.
Did anybody hear the
That's how it
new
works.
Timberlake single? What's that song again?
The new one?
Yeah, say something, say something, say something, say something. I was like, that's a lot of say something. Like, I don't know what to say. I think it's like 5 times. I was a bit annoyed, though, because I was actually thinking he was going to change it, but he didn't. and there's other parts in the song where he actually does the same with other hooks, where it's like you have this boog? Was it?
What?
This, where you have tension, right, building up with this
yeah.
idea. Sorry.
All right.
And then
Spanningsboog for the
spanningsboog, yes. And then you need to develop that into an idea and then repeat that idea. But within that idea, there are also repetitive parts. And that's always something that I find really interesting. It's like, where is it still? Where is enough contrast, or where does it get boring?
So this is around 100 BPM. Like that's always that's also important. Sometimes a producer tells me I want a song like that, but then they give me a production which is like 20 BPM faster than that song that they
In a
reference.
totally different vibe.
In a totally different vibe, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like I cannot like. So that's also really important. Like, know your BPM, know the progression. You cannot just like, I like that hit, so I want something like that.
It's the same as when somebody tells you, I want this song because of all the repeats that are in it. But when you do it, when you write a new song and it has all these repetitive parts, then it just doesn't work like that. You know, you can do exactly the same as the other song, but the vibe is still different. So it's still, I don't know, every song is unique.
Yeah,
you cannot.
it is.
Like what we just had, like I like it, but if you're a producer and you have like a track for 120 BPM, like it's not gonna work. And that's also something you should think about.
Something you should think about. Sorry, this is my fucked up mind. That's where's Alex? Alex is over there. Yeah, Alex also works for Vocalkitchen, and I know he doesn't want me to say it. But when we're in the studio, not even making music, and we're in the studio, not making music. I know that sounds weird, but in the office part of it. And then people would say random things, and we would make an idea out of it, just to start, because you can collect all those little pieces of ideas, and then one day when you're in the studio and you run out of ideas, then you have an idea, because you already had it before, you just need to record it. So a lot of times when people ask me like, oh, well, are you always inspired, you never have a writer's block? I'm like, writer's block is just, like, that's lazy.
Yeah.
That's lazy. Writer's block is something, because you didn't pay attention in the past, because there's so much inspiration around you. If you're a writer, you just suck everything up, or you use words that you hear people say in a different way, and I think that's magic. And when you actually get to the point where you don't know what to do that day because you're in a session or whatever, you can still use those ideas. I would always be a bit scared going into a session where I'm like, oh shit, I hope I have some great ideas today. Then I'm not the one just like, oh no, and none of my ideas end up in the final idea. I don't know how you deal with that. Like,
well, I have the same. I think that's you don't have to be a songwriter for it, but always like phrasing. I talked about it yesterday. Bon Iver, whatever how you want to call him. Like skinny love, like that phrase is so good.
Brilliant.
Because it doesn't exist yet, but everyone knows what you mean. So if you just like come across something like that, or just an idea to combine words, just write it down. Even if you're not a songwriter, just pass it to the songwriter. Maybe they can write something brilliant about it. And I think phrasing is really important. I had the same with reality. So this is a ghost in it, sometimes I believe, times rational. I can fly high, I can go low. Today I got 1 million, tomorrow I don't know. That phrase, today I got 1 million, doesn't make sense, actually, grammar-wise. But because of the vowels, million, billion, something like that. But you should say, today I got 1 million of sandwiches or dollars.
you need to finish that line. Yeah.
You have to finish it, actually. But I couldn't figure it out, because if I like edit another word, it would like change the rhythm, change the melody, and then I will probably fuck it up. So I thought like, all right, we'll see. And now everyone can like have a different interpretation of it. And I think that kind of thing, like skinny love, 1 million of nothing, all that kind of stuff is really important.
Okay. I mean, I can tell you the story about the song I did for Cascada. It's called Evacuate the Dance Floor. It's a couple of years ago. But the thing was that the first 4 hours of that co-write session, we were vibing on some chords that were close to Holiday, the Madonna song. Celebrate. We were like, yeah, this is cool. And it sounds a bit like, yeah, it does. Oh, yeah, can we get away with it? Yeah, it's sort of similar but different. But then after 4 hours, thank God, we realized that it's a bit boring and we can't really get out of this idea. So then we came up with this which was evacuate the dance floor, but we didn't know it yet. So we had those chords which were really really obvious, that's the hook there, and we need some words. So we were like, I know I was working with Janieck, the German producer, and the Germans, no offense, they're like simple lyrics and dance music, so simple lyrics. So he was like, yeah, there's something, dance floor. I'm like, yeah, we heard that before, the dance floor. Yeah. Like now, what am I gonna do? So how do you make it interesting? before the word dance floor. I mean, you know, so we were just on Google, and then suddenly we were on a page, and it said something like evacuation or what. I don't know how we got there. And we were looking at each other like, evacuate the dance floor. Nah, we can't do that. What the hell does that mean? Like, why would you want to do that? And we were laughing, like, yeah, okay, that's fun. Let's try it. It sounds good. Okay, and they kept it, and it was a smash eventually. But can you imagine what would have happened if we would have stayed
Dancing
with the
on the
chords?
dance floor?
Dancing on the dance floor? No, probably not. And also, if we would have stayed with the other chords, I mean, it's such a, you never know which song is going to come through. You just try to write a song that's fun and a solid song and something that could work, and the rest is out of your hands. And that's kind of scary when you think back on, like, oh, if we would have made another decision, it probably wouldn't have, or maybe it would. But I don't know. How do you?
Yeah,
I mean,
but what we have now,
you
we
never
wrote
know
the-
when you do it, though. You know.
No, exactly. We have Friday the new Lucas and Steve singles coming out.
Yeah.
We wrote, and it's called "You Don't Have to Like It," and it's also something like the lyrics is "You don't have to like it." Something I'm fine with is actually saying like "fuck you," like take it or leave it. Actually, but then in a different sense. So I think that's always really important because like we as the audience love the standard things, like breakups, falling in love, partying, all the standard subjects. So it's always important to approach the same subject that we do for hundreds of years in songs, but like approach it in a different way.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
I think so too. Yeah, without getting into like really difficult words, because I had that phase too, where I was like, okay, now I'm gonna look for really difficult words that are like nobody can relate to. So that didn't work. But I thought I was being clever, so that didn't. Don't go there. So it's all about using very familiar words, but say it in a way where it's just different, either funny or awkward. Like. Why would you say that? Even if it doesn't make any sense. That's why I think the whole coming from like, more like a sound thing instead of a word thing. I mean, I love lyrics. So you need a great lyric, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the song? Baby, what's the song again? Do you know it? Baby,
No.
the rock song.
Oh, but baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah.
That is seriously. That was his brother's. That had a stutter. So the singer made fun of his brother because it was like, baby, ain't seen nothing yet. And he made fun of him. It was like, baby, ain't seen nothing yet. Huge hit.
Yeah. And does anybody know the story? Because I want to know. Like, isn't this my life is brilliant? Where he starts the line before he starts to sing, right?
Yeah, he started too early.
Yeah, he starts a couple of bars too early with the verse.
Yeah.
That's where everybody was like, he already started?
They kept it in.
And then he started.
Yeah.
By the way,
What's
about
his name?
vows, that's something, James Blunt.
Oh, yeah.
But about vows is very important. Like, nobody knows it, but this is seriously. Because I spoke to one of the co-producer that was in that session, but Adele, Rolling in the Deep. She never sings Rolling in the Deep. That was like a improvisation take. Yeah, she's something like rolling in deep, and then she went off touring, and they were like, "Yeah, man, we need lyrics on that. She needs to finish that." And then other producer walked in. He said, "Sounds like Rolling in the Deep." And then they just thought, "All right, fuck it, we keep the original
let's
takes."
use that take.
Yeah, and we call it Rolling in the Deep. And now everybody hears Rolling in the Deep, but she's not actually singing Rolling in the Deep because, like, even if you think about it, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Rolling in the Deep.
It's just some inspiration that comes up, and you're not matching words yet. You're just singing bullshit.
Yeah, what we do, like, down if you so low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not.
We don't know what it is yet.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
So, any questions so far? One.
We have a question.
Just
right
one?
there.
Everybody's scared. I know how that smells.
Hello. You have the Dutch rappers and things, and if you look at the lyrics of them, I think it doesn't make any sense at all. but there are people who like the lyrics and are singing it and doing things. So is that a kind of a great thing, or do you think it's great because I'm reading it or listening to it and I'm annoyed because I think like...
yeah,
what
the moment you start
what are you
reading
saying?
it and try to comprehend what they're saying, I think that's annoying. Because I think it's not meant for that. I think it's just meant to be consumed in a way where you're maybe under the influence of something. It doesn't have to make sense. It was yeah. Yeah, sometimes you have to be under the influence to understand certain kind of music. Because I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna listen to club music
At home.
at home.
With a glass of wine.
Right? No, not
No.
really. It's not gonna
No, it
work.
does.
But if I'm in a club, then I'm not. I don't want to hear like.
I do actually.
You do?
Yeah.
Tell us all about it.
Well, how do you... So...
Just for my producing skills.
Ah, yeah, but then you're learning.
Yeah, but like we're like talking about like enjoying it. That you're like...
But I enjoy it. I do enjoy
No,
it.
but like that you're like having a glass of wine. I don't know. Reading
Alright,
something and it...
I get it. No, then I like John Mayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
then-
yeah, I don't want to be in a club and I hear daughters.
No.
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 You know, you're like...
And I don't want to
chilling
see
and
my daughter in
drinking
the club either.
No, I
that's
I
a
can
whole
imagine her.
But
But
also,
she will someday.
yeah, forget about it. But also, I mean, I'm a big Michael Jackson fan, and I realized that when I was younger, I used to listen to all his stuff, and I didn't really care what the lyric was about. So that for me, that is a great example, like for many other people as well, that the lyric is, it has to be really good, but you can get so much emotion out of a melody. It's crazy. I mean, you don't understand what he's saying. To be really honest, I'm not even interested in reading what he actually said up till today. I don't even mind. He's just smooth criminal. Okay, smooth criminal, I understand, but or like, what did he say with Annie? Annie,
Annie, are you okay?
anyway, you okay? I was like, what is he saying? You don't even know. You just sing it, right?
He likes Annie really
Annie,
much.
are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Are you okay? That's enough.
Yeah.
If you have people doing that,
I can already imagine
Please.
you as a 15-year-old, like...
Annie, are you okay? And
Annie, are you
doing the
okay?
moonwalk. Yeah. Really wrong. But it's all about that vibe, though.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. I mean,
Well, it's a combination,
You get
of
away
course.
with a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's fun to write crazy.
Are there any more questions? I cannot believe that we are like 100% clear, because songwriting is like and everything except clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
One question.
Hello.
Hello.
So, yeah. Great last point, by the way. I think that like there's a lot that you can get away with. There's, like you said, there must be a good lyric, but there's enough context there to where it gives you somewhere to go, but then you can leave the rest up to interpretation. Anyways, so I was wondering, like, as a songwriter, what are a few hang-ups that you guys each have personally that you've either gone through and overcome, or currently are learning to work through personally? Because I think there's a lot of to-dos and stuff like that, but I find it very helpful to know, hey, maybe I'm also getting caught up on this and it's preventing me from flourishing. And so to maybe hear your perspective on some things that you feel like are frustrations or roadblocks, and how to work through them.
Well, for me personally, I think the hang-up for me would be not to know your strength or your weakness. So, for me, I realized what my strength is, and it took me quite some time, and it also made me aware that I need to collaborate with people that, that fill in that part that I'm missing. And the most important thing is to have fun. It sounds really like, oh, have fun. I have fun when I'm producing. But, I've been in sessions with really, high-profile writers and established, successful people, and they're just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So that means you have people at every level. That means there's a lot of amateurs that can be a pain in the butt too, because they think they know it all. But that's something else. But there's just as many pros that are a pain in the butt, just because they're a pain in the butt, not because they're talented or not. Am I being honest here? Yeah. So and it doesn't matter if they're on amateur level or a pro. You don't want to work with people that are a pain, because that takes away your good energy. So I think those are the those are not even like writing lessons, but I think more like, because the more I feel at ease in a session, the more crazy I can be in a session, the better the song is going to be.
But the same like what I had was like big, like I used to write everything on my own. It was a long time ago, but then it was like my baby, you know. I didn't want anyone to do something with it. Yeah, exactly. And then I started off writing with other people, and now I never write on my own.
I never write by myself.
Never.
Like it just like it's. Of course, sometimes you have a song that you wrote on your own and it's cool, but there are a lot of examples that happen. But most of the times, you do not have all the solutions on your own. No way.
Yeah.
That's why you work together. Like one guy's idea, I have an idea, and then it fits together, and then it becomes something special. So that was one. How do you call it? Hang-ups.
Yeah.
Hang up.
Can I piggyback on that and ask? Because I've thought, how did you guys come in making that transition from writing on your own to co-writing and collaboration? Because it's not always as easy as, oh, I realize that it's important, let me go ahead and do it, because not everybody that you want to work with, or you're trying to work with the right people, and maybe you feel like you don't offer enough value and you're in the process of trying to figure out what your strengths are and where you are. How did you guys make that transition into collaborating more often and co-writing?
Well, first of all, like, don't put yourself too high, you know, like, be open to it. Like, that's actually the most important thing. And sometimes people have totally different music styles, and at first you don't hear, or you cannot connect, and you're like, what's that guy or girl trying to do? Like, you don't understand it. Just like, be chill, and take your time, and be open to it, and just hear it. And sometimes you pick something out of it, you're like, oh, right, that's dope, that's cool, I could use that. I think that's really important. Other thing, also like strengths and weaknesses are really important. And it's super cliche, but I do not listen too much to what are in the charts now.
Yeah.
Do not
Like, you
listen
see-
to what labels tell you.
No, like it's like what you can do is like copy stuff, and you can like score like medium hits, of course, and you can make a living out of that, and that's cool. But the biggest hits are always from a person that's doing exactly just what he or she wants to do. And these songs become smashes. And I don't agree, though, don't listen to labels. Because, like...
Well, how? You're a liar. No, I'll tell you why I tell you this, because
don't listen to publishers.
that is also the truth. No, because a lot of people in this industry don't know what they're talking about. That's why. And I'm telling you this because there are people in a certain position in a company that should be maybe general manager, but not a creative. You know what I mean? I mean, not everybody can be a creative. That means if you're a creative, you need to give creative feedback, not just say, "I'm not feeling it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The "I'm not feeling it."
But that's 9 of 10 times you get that. I'm not feeling it. And I'm like,
But
yeah,
why?
what-
Because they don't know what to say.
Because I can change, you know? Like, it's
That's
not,
not-
I don't
like
feel
a
hurt
song.
if someone says, I don't feel it. I don't feel hurt. Then but what don't you feel, so I can change and do what you want?
Yeah, exactly. There must be something in the song that you like.
Yeah.
No. So I actually had that with the publisher. I
Yeah,
sent
of
him a
course.
song, and I thought it was a really good song. It was an okay song afterwards, but after a couple of years, I realized it was okay. But there was something cool about it. But he actually told me, like, no, I don't like the song. So I said, I was really, like, interested in, okay, so tell me, you know, how can I learn? Because as a creative, I think we need to be open. So I was open, and he slapped me in the face again, saying, like, I don't like anything. I was like, what did he just say?
That hurts.
You mean you don't like anything? Like nothing? Like not even no hook in nowhere? Like no bass line, no hook, like nothing?
Not even a kick or something?
No, nothing. No, nothing. And also,
A word, maybe?
no label names here, but there are companies in this industry that have a whole division of A&Rs that don't know what the fuck they're talking about, other than their ego. And honestly, they don't have a clue. So, because they cannot give you feedback.
Nobody has.
Because nobody has a clue.
Nobody
We don't
has a
know
clue.
what it's going to do.
We just make music, and
We just
sometimes
make
it's
music.
cool and sometimes it's
Yeah.
shit.
And you know what I like best? If they tell you, well, you know what? You're the writer. You can't tell because you can't take you don't have enough distance from the product as we do because we're the consumer. I'm like, that's bullshit. You just don't have the knowledge to give me good feedback. And we're in this industry every day writing songs to craft a song as good as we can.
Good. By the way, another tip to like don't if you to stay objective. Always, if you like in the studio all day, I have a song. Like leave it there for like 2 days and listen back to it.
Let it marinate.
Yeah. Like,
that will
Like
help.
in the kitchen.
I really don't want to hear it. Like if I finish the song, I really don't want to hear it for at least 24 hours. And then I listen back to it, and then I'm like, all right, it's cool. And sometimes think, oh man, that's terrible.
And I always repeat it the whole night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
But then
oh,
you
yeah.
cannot stay objective. But are there any more questions? Because we.
Yeah, we have a few minutes
We have
left.
5 minutes left.
Oh, there's a
Alright.
question over there.
Any questions
There,
over
yes.
here?
There must be a million questions because songwriting is so vague. So vague.
And we don't know the answers anyway. So
Yeah, it might be true.
that's the best part.
Here is about the pitching process. You said we got the email from the publishing
I can hear it.
asking for some requests for specific artists. How you overcome with the process of pitching when, as you said, like A&R might say like we need something that sounds like.
Yeah, you know, that's the problem because they don't want hits to sound like that because the moment you create something that sounds like that, it is already that, but it has been.
Yeah.
By the time they actually pick your song that sounds like what has been, it's dated.
Yeah.
So what they actually mean, because you have to translate an A&R, you need an A&R translator app.
That would be a great job.
Thank you. We can do it all together.
We created a new job in the music
The
industry.
A&R translator, which actually what they mean is we want to have the song that makes us just as rich as the other songs that are on the top of the charts. We don't give a shit how it sounds.
Like different ways actually to like overcome that. Lost Frequencies, I just sent a message on Twitter, man. And he responded like because he wasn't that big back then. One, I got Alle Farbe. I got to know via publishing. It was like a song camp. Lucas and Steve, I met in the studio. I was in the studio and
We had a
I
writer's
just had
camp.
like a smoke a cigarette and I saw the guys like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then we chatted and like we clicked. And so it's always different. But like never like rely like fully on a publisher or a label. Like of course sometimes they do good stuff as well. Sometimes it gets to someone that you cannot approach. But like don't you know how to?
But you have to create your own
don't leave it up to them.
Right. And that's what a lot of people do. Also, when they have a manager, they say, "Oh, I got a manager now.
He will manage
What are you
that.
going to do for me today?" Like nothing. You know, you have to do it yourself. So he's going to help you, service you in a way. But you, like you said, well, I met them in the studio, where I can think a lot of people would say, "Well, I never meet Hardwell in the studio." You know, for example, or like Lucas and Steve. But that's because you're pushing all your opportunities.
Yeah.
So you end up
Yeah, we talked
at
about it.
places. In places where you will meet other people that you may end up in other places because they sent you there or they want you there. So it's all about creating those opportunities for yourself by getting out of your studio, getting out of the building, and going into the world and creating
Networking,
opportunities.
man.
And working,
Networking is
it's
so important.
super important. Go to ADE.
Yeah, go to all
Go
these
to
kind of
Dancefair.
events, talk with people.
So you guys doing a great job already.
Talk to Alon. Talk to
Yeah.
yeah.
We're Dutch, so we
Kind of down to
Nederlands.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. All right, any more questions? Anyone?
We have one short question, really short.
Why?
And we have
Really,
to
really
wrap it
short.
up.
Why?
Why short?
That was a question.
So, as you guys talked about your Dutch, did you ever experience English not being your first language as a struggle in
Oh, yeah.
songwriting?
Yeah, of
all
course.
right.
Yeah, we leave it up to other writers, or at least I
Now, what I
bring
do
in
is
other
if I write it, I write it myself. That's also a hang up for me. But you're native, I think. Yeah. But if it's not your language, I write it and then always let it be checked by a native. Like, is this like? Would you guys say it like this? Because like a lot of songs I know from other songwriters didn't become like international hit because of that thing.
Yeah.
Because like the English or the Americans were like, yeah, grammar-wise it's correct, but we would never say that.
But that could also be a good thing sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. But
Because
you know,
it's
that's
weird.
the thing. Like we're sitting here, like we
There-
know the
there are no
answers. We don't know.
rules. We don't
Like,
know. There are
Sometimes
no
it's good,
rules.
sometimes bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to have a lot. You need to write a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's also something I learned.
And repeat.
Because
And write everything
Remember,
down.
repeat it. If
repeat
you
it,
have a good
repeat
hook,
it, repeat it,
repeat it.
All right, I got one more
Repeat it.
one more tip,
Yeah.
then I'm done. Like if you have a song, show it to a young kid,
Yeah.
so to a real young kid, and then like 2 days later, do you remember it? You ask, do you remember it? If the kid, because they get like, yeah, they distracted from anything. Yeah, if they remember it,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, if they remember it after 2 days,
You don't
down.
remember the song I played
Like-
you 2 days ago? Let me sing it to you again.
All right, I think that is a fantastic tip
That's a
from
great ending.
Yannick to end it on.
All right.
Let's give a really big round of applause for
Thank you, guys.
Vocalkitchen here for their very insightful skills, guys.
And thank you for coming.